Hello, and welcome to How to View a Supplier Invoice using UR Financials and OnBase Quick Reference video. Throughout this video, we will go over what OnBase is and how to request access in order to become a user. Then, we will demonstrate how to locate invoices and attachments within the system. You will have support in case you run into any issues or have questions along the way. Let's get started. It is important for you to understand what OnBase is and why users find it helpful to use the system. OnBase is a document storage and retrieval system for all paper invoices that accounts payable receives. Users are able to view stored PDFs of supplier invoices within UR Financials. There are many ways for users to view accounts payable activities. For those who are company-level users, you can use Find Supplier Invoice lines with Save Filters Report URF0355, which can produce an output specific to your needs. Non-company level users can see for themselves if an invoice has been entered into UR Financials using the Find Supplier Invoice Lines Report URF0992, or you can use Transaction Details by Months Report URF0398, which will allow you to drill and pull out missing documentation from the report. To become a user of OnBase, you first have to complete and submit the request form for viewing supplier invoices in UR Financials. This form can be found on the UR Financials webpage, which we will demonstrate next. You will have to print the form in order to fill in the fields for employee information and obtain your supervisor's signature. Once you have the form completed, you can scan and send the request to the University IT Help Desk email that is listed on the form. You can find the Supplier Invoice Viewing Permission form under the Forms sub-menu on the UR Financials website. The form will need to be printed and then completed by the individual requiring access. A signature from your supervisor is needed as well. Before going further, read the agreement policy and select this checkbox to continue form completion. Once everything has been filled out, the form can be submitted to the help desk address listed on the form for processing. Now, we will discuss how you can locate invoices within UR Financials. There are two types of invoices, each with its own retrieval method: electronic and paper. About half of all invoices that are posted to ledgers are received electronically, and the rest are paper. Supplier online orders and approximately half of Pathways Material Management purchase orders are electronic invoices. It is important to know that when invoices are electronic, there will be no image retrievals, so they will not have a document link or attachment in UR Financials. As a result of this, departments should contact the supplier or your department order placer for an invoice copy. For Pathways Materials Management EDI 810 electronic invoices, there is no copy in accounts payable nor a document link or an attachment in UR Financials. Only paper invoices that have been received and processed by accounts payable can be viewed using OnBase. You are able to access the electronic invoice listing under the Resources sub-menu on the UR Financials webpage. Here, you can view the most updated records of electronic invoices that are received from suppliers. You can also see the frequency and the type of invoices they submit. When you are viewing supplier invoices, UR Financials document links will only work in the Microsoft Internet Explorer browser. However, you are still able to run your reports in other browsers and then copy and paste the URL into Internet Explorer. You can do this by selecting a specific transaction that has a green or purple flag, which will open the supplier invoice screen. On this screen, you can highlight and right-click to copy the document URL located in the Invoice Reference Information section. Now, open Internet Explorer and paste this URL into the address bar for viewing. In case the link displays an invalid error, you can contact the Accounts Payable email box. As you work in OnBase, you will need to understand what the symbols stand for. In the Supplier Invoice column, there are colored flags that represent different types of supporting documentation on the transaction. A green flag indicates that the transaction contains a document linked to an invoice. An attachment is represented by an orange flag, and a purple flag includes both a document link and an attachment. If there is no flag, then there is no document link or attachment and is most likely an electronic invoice. Under the Payment tab within a supplier invoice, you can view the reconciliation status. Reconciled status indicates that the payment has been successfully received, and if a payment has not been collected yet, the status will say unreconciled. In the Non-Company Level User Report URF 0992, there is a payment type column which will present the following: a green check mark, meaning that a transaction has been paid for, or a red X if no payment has been sent for this invoice yet. Before we go any further, it will be important for you to become familiar with some of the terms that will be used in the next demonstration. The invoice number from the supplier's invoice is known as the supplier reference number. The supplier invoice is a voucher number that is a unique identifier generated by the system. And lastly, the external purchase order numbers are only used if there are Pathway Materials Management purchase order numbers. Once you have been granted access, you can log into UR Financials using your NetID and password. Throughout this demonstration, the areas that we are going to cover in detail are features from the Find Supplier Invoice Lines URF 0992 report. When you find and select a report that you want to run, a menu will appear on screen that will need to be completed based on your organization and time period. Other fields are available if you want to narrow your results down to specific invoices. Required fields are marked with a red asterisk next to it. After you click OK, your results will appear on your screen. Here, you can see important information such as the supplier invoice, supplier reference number, and external purchase order number columns for each transaction within your results. To view more details of a specific transaction, you can right-click on the supplier invoice link and choose See a New tab. This action will display the View Supplier Invoice screen and presents the invoice information, terms and taxes, and invoice reference information. Invoice lines, payment information, and process history will be shown as well. Under the Invoice Reference Information section, you can launch OnBase by selecting the document link URL. Remember, if you are using Chrome or Firefox, copy and paste this link into Internet Explorer or else it will not work. Log into OnBase using your NetID and password, which will then present the invoice for that transaction. From here, you can print or close open tabs if necessary. If you are not able to drill into invoices in UR Financials, there may be security level restrictions for your role. Since we have gone over how to locate an invoice, let's take a look at how to find attachments. Orange or purple flags indicate that a supplier invoice contains an attachment which provides more documentation for that transaction. Users will be able to view, print, or save attachments if needed. We will demonstrate where to find the attachment tab in just a few moments. Cash management is involved in creating supplier invoices, and they utilize attachments instead of document links. If the document link or attachment contains incomplete images or the wrong documentation, you can contact Accounts Payable. In the Transaction Details Report URF 0398, orange and purple flags are located under the Operational Transaction column. When you open the supplier invoice screen by clicking a specific transaction, there is a tab set at the bottom of the page for Adjustment Lines, Attachments, and Process History. You can open a PDF for the supplier invoice under the Attachment tab. Here, you have the options to print or save if needed. Contact the Accounts Payable email box if the attachment contains incomplete images or the wrong documentation. Self-help resources such as the request form, quick reference cards, and the supplier electronic invoice list are available for reference at any time on the UR Financials website. You can also find the Contact Us page if you need any further clarification on retrieving invoice documentation. If you need an invoice copy and there is no UR Financials document link or attachment, contact the order placer for online orders or the supplier directly. If you don't get what you need from any of these options, then you can also ask Accounts Payable for assistance in getting a copy of the invoice from the supplier. If you encounter any technical issues when using UR Financials, contact the University IT Help Desk. Thank you for watching this How to View a Supplier Invoice Quick Reference video.